After seizing power in Libya in a bloodless coup back in 1969, Colonel Moamar Gaddafi remained one of the world's most ruthless dictators. Over the decades, he repressed and tortured many of his own people. In the West, he was condemned for acts of terrorism, including the bombing of an American airliner over the Scottish town of Lockerbie. The BBC's John Simpson looks back at his life and reign.
I cannot leave the honourable soil of my country. I will die a martyr at the end.
Many people doubted it, but he didn't try to escape. He died as he said he would. It's hard now to remember how glamorous he once seemed to many people to be. In September 1969, when he seized power, he looked like a symbol of 1960s revolutionary chic. During those early years, Libya's living standards rose sevenfold, thanks to the newly discovered oil. But Gaddafi's weird political ideas gradually started to do real damage. He decided that shops were nests of exploiters and abolished them in favour of monster regional supermarkets. It was a disaster. People actually went hungry. He claimed he was just a figurehead and that the Libyan people ran everything through democratic committees. But that was pure fiction. He was the boss, and his secret police terrified everyone into obeying him. This total disconnect between rhetoric and reality was characteristic of the entire Gaddafi system. As a result, it was really hard to interview him, as I first found in 1979. Was Western influence in the Middle East declining? I asked him.
When?
Now.
You mean the influence of America?
Yes.
Disappears now.
Yes.
And when I asked him about all the arms he'd given the IRA in Northern Ireland, he simply refused to answer. Some of his supporters were acting like terrorists themselves. In London in 1984, during the siege of the Libyan embassy, an official inside fired out at the police and killed WPC Yvonne Fletcher. After the bombing of US servicemen in Berlin, which may or may not have been Colonel Gaddafi's work, the US President Ronald Reagan ordered the bombing of Libya in 1986. Gaddafi escaped unhurt, but he made immense propaganda out of it all. Libya got the full blame for the Lockerbie bombing, which made Colonel Gaddafi a pariah for years, but a pariah with oil. Libya became more and more corrupt, though Gaddafi still described himself as a poor Bedouin and insisted on being interviewed in his tent. I asked him about stories there'd been an attempt to kill him.
Of course it is true, and it happened against me. Yes, it has happened, of course, and Britain was behind this attempt of assassination.
But it was the British and the Americans who were most determined to bring him in from the cold, something which still attracts a lot of criticism.
If a country is prepared to say, we want to put the past behind us, we want to give up chemical and nuclear weapons capability, we want to cease our ties with terrorist groups, then we should be willing to open up to that.
For 40-plus years, Colonel Gaddafi seemed like a fixture. Now, almost everyone in Libya is celebrating his fall. He won't leave any kind of system behind him. He remained a one-off, an oddball, right to the end.